Now, while I wasn't on the beach for the actual landing, I did get on the beach of Omaha one day after the invasion, June 7th. And I wrote an article, actually a couple of articles, about what I saw there to help the people back home understand the significance and the impact that this landing had, both positively and negatively. Let me share a couple of excerpts with you. Normandy beachhead, June 16th, 1944. I took a walk along the historic coast of Normandy in the country of France. It was a lovely day for strolling along the seashore. Men were sleeping on the sand, some of them sleeping forever. Men were floating in the water, but they didn't know they were in the water, for they were dead. I walked for 1.5 miles along the water's edge of our many-miled invasion beach. You wanted to walk slowly, for the detail on that beach was infinite. For 1 mile out from the beach, there were scores of tanks and trucks and boats that you could no longer see, for they were at the bottom of the water, swamped by overloading or hit by shells or sunk by mines. Most of their crews were lost. You could see trucks tipped half over and swamped. You could see partly sunken barges and the angled up corners of jeeps and small landing craft half submerged. And at low tide, you could still see those vicious six-pronged iron snares that helped snag and wreck them. On the beach itself, high and dry, were all kinds of wrecked vehicles. There were tanks that had only just made the beach before being knocked out. There were jeeps that had been burned to a dull gray. But there is another, more human litter. It extends in a thin little line for miles along the beach. This is the strewn personal gear that will never be needed again, of those who fought and died to give us our entrance into Europe. Here in a jumbled row for mile on mile are soldiers' packs. Here are socks and shoe polish, sewing kits and diaries, Bibles and hand grenades. Here are the latest letters from home. Here are toothbrushes and razors and snapshots of families back home staring up at you from the sand. Here are pocketbooks and metal mirrors, extra trousers, and bloody abandoned shoes. Here are torn pistol belts and canvas water buckets, first aid kits, and jumbled heaps of life belts. The strong, swirling tides of the Normandy coastline shift the contours of the sandy beach as they move in and out. They carry soldiers' bodies out to sea, and later they return them. They cover the corpses of heroes with sand, and then, in their whims, they uncover them. There were a soldier's 2 feet. He was completely covered by the shifting sands except for his feet. The toes of his GI shoes pointed toward the land he had come so far to see, and which he saw so briefly.